This is George Hutton, and you are listening to the Mind Persuasion podcast. Today we continue our study on linguistic presuppositions, a subset of the Milton model, otherwise known as covert and conversational hypnosis. Our first pattern for today is called cleft sentences. Cleft sentences are sentences that start with either it is or it was that can be used in various ways. Here we'll go over two powerful methods. The first is to insert a commentary adjective like interesting or wonderful or fantastic after the it is, and then insert the idea you want to persuade your listener or reader. For example, the idea is exercise is best for weight loss. The adjective is interesting. It is interesting that exercise is one of the best ways to lose weight. Or, it's surprising that dollar cost averaging is such a great way to make money. I had always thought that you needed to have inside information or be some kind of an expert. It's amazing how much you can increase your persuasive ability by studying presuppositions. Another way to use this pattern is to use a reference and then put them in the past tense. Then phrase the sentence as if the outcome has already been accomplished. Find somebody who has already exhibited the idea you want to persuade your audience. For example, I was reading about this rich guy the other day. It was his consistent application of dollar cost averaging that allowed him to amass so much wealth in the stock market. I have this friend who looks great. I asked her how she did it, and she said she tried all kinds of different weight loss methods, but in the end, it was consistent daily exercise that made it easy to lose the weight. I was reading this article about this guy who always comes in first in his company's annual sales competition. He said that it was his relentless study of presuppositions that gave him such powerful sales and persuasion skills. One thing that never ceases to amaze me is how wonderful it is that there are these language patterns that can give you incredible power in your social life as well as in your business, whatever that may be. Indeed, the most successful people you'll meet will tell you that it was their continued desire to learn more information and techniques that gave them the edge. I don't know if it's your desire to increase your success that makes you optimistic about the future, or your capacity for continued improvement in all areas of your life that drives you to continue to learn and improve yourself. But one thing is for certain, it is presuppositions that can give you a powerful edge that most people aren't even aware of. Our next pattern is called complex adjectives. These are adjectives that are based on time, and they are very useful for conversationally future pacing somebody. Future pacing is a very useful technique that is used therapeutically. For example, if you want to quit smoking and you go see a hypnotist, he may persuade you to not want to smoke for the time being. That's fine in their office, but what happens when you get to the bar or get that after-dinner craving? When you future pace, you imagine going into the future and imagine various situations where the problem may come back, and then practice being in that future situation and not feeling any desire to smoke. But if you were trying to sell somebody a car, for example, you can't really say, okay, I know you don't want to buy the car, but if you could relax and close your eyes and imagine yourself in a time in the future when you are really enjoying this car, how does that feel? You might come across as a bit goofy to say the least, but with complex adjectives, you can conversationally move them back and forth throughout time while making it sound like a normal everyday conversation. The commonly used words are new, old, former, previous, and current. You use these to describe situations or states. For example, to persuade somebody that exercising to lose weight is a good idea, you could say, with your new body that you got from simple everyday exercise, it will be cool when you get all that attention from the opposite sex. Or you can put another idea regarding weight loss in their past and describe how much easier it is now. That old idea about going on all those restrictive diets seems silly now that you've discovered how simple daily exercise is the best way to lose weight. Or say you want to persuade somebody that dollar cost averaging is a great way to invest in the stock market. Your new bank account will make it much easier to retire now that you've figured out that dollar cost averaging is really the best way to invest. Or you could put something different than your intended message in the past. Those old ideas that you somehow needed to spend hours a week learning all kinds of complex investment strategies seem a little bit silly in light of the fact that dollar cost averaging is hands down the best way to consistently build wealth. Your new sales skills that you're developing learning about these simple presuppositions will skyrocket your income to fantastic levels, so much you'll only need to work about 6 months out of the year. Or you could flip it around the other way. Those old school ideas about how you need to be some high-intensity salesperson, always aggressive and confrontational like a used car salesman, they seem really crazy since it's the relaxed use of these presuppositions that will get you not only the sale but so many lucrative referrals as well. When you can imagine now how your new skills will serve you once you've decided to come back and listen to this podcast every day, you'll be surprised with how creatively you'll be able to use them, both for social and financial benefit. Our next pattern is called Ordinal Numbers. These are numbers like first, second, third, as well as words like next or another. They are used to create a sequential list either of things or events in time. Logically, they work similar to the subordinate clause of time presuppositions. In this sentence, when I go to dinner, I will eat chicken. The going to dinner is presupposed, and the focus is on what you will do, eat chicken, when you get there. It is structured so that going to dinner is not questioned. When ordinal numbers are used, they create the same effect. The basic structure is to create something in the future that will be the result of whatever it is you want to persuade your listener or reader to accept. For example, if I want to persuade somebody to exercise in order to lose weight, I can say the following. The first thing you'll notice when you start to exercise to lose weight is how much better you'll sleep at night. The focus seems to be on getting a good night's sleep, but in order to imagine getting a good night's sleep, the listener will have to first presuppose exercising to lose weight. Here's another example. Dollar cost averaging will make you money in the stock market. The first thing you'll notice when you start making money through dollar cost averaging is how little time it really takes. Most people only spend about 20 minutes a week or so and notice their wealth consistently increase over time. In order to imagine increasing wealth, the listener has to presuppose that dollar cost averaging is going to get them there. The first thing you'll appreciate once you start practicing presuppositions in your daily life is how incredibly powerful they are to persuade with. Another thing you'll notice is that nobody will ever have any idea what you are doing. If you really want to have some fun, you can start off with second and then use another. The second thing you'll become aware of when you begin using presuppositions on a daily basis is the fascinating fact that most people will think they thought of the idea themselves, when in reality it was you persuading them to think that. Another great thing about presuppositions is by knowing how to create them, you'll notice when others are using them to try and manipulate you. After that, it will be extremely difficult for anybody to manipulate you into anything. Here I put 3 things in the future, starting with second, then another, and then after that. Because I started with second, you may have started to wonder about the first thing. But if this were a real conversation and not a step-by-step tutorial, by the time I got to the third presupposed benefit, you would have probably forgotten about the missing first, as well as any resistance to accepting the idea that presuppositions are incredibly powerful. Hopefully by now you're starting to realize the incredible power of presuppositions. The first thing that most people like you usually realize when they discover these powerful patterns is that when you begin to combine them, they become nearly impossible to detect as well as resist. And the more you practice them, the more influential you'll become in all areas of your life. Our next pattern is called Comparative As. The structure of a comparative as is as following. Take 2 things and find something about them that is similar. I am as tall as my brother. It is as cold in Alaska as it is in Hokkaido. It is as hot in Arizona as it is in Nevada. There are a couple of powerful ways to use this pattern for persuasion. The first is to turn it into a question. Let's say you want to persuade somebody that exercise is the best way to lose weight. You ask the question, do you know of any method that is as effective as daily exercise to lose weight? If they answer no, then they admit that exercise is the best way to lose weight. If they answer yes, then they admit that exercise and something else are equally good for losing weight. In effect, they are admitting that exercise and something else are tied for first place when it comes to the best way to lose weight. Here's some more examples. Dollar cost averaging is the best way to consistently make money in the stock market. Do you know of any way that is as effective as dollar cost averaging to make money consistently in the stock market? Again, if they answer no, they are tacitly agreeing with your idea. If they answer yes, they are admitting that whatever other method they are thinking of is only as good as dollar cost averaging, not better. Another way to use this pattern is to make a statement of a question that you asked yourself. I don't know of any method that is as effective as exercise to lose weight. I can't think of any investing strategy that is as effective as dollar cost averaging that will consistently build wealth in the stock market. If you have any kind of credentials or client, you can quote them. I've been a professional trainer for many years, and I haven't found any method that is as effective as simple daily exercise for weight loss. I've been an investment advisor for 2 decades, and none of my clients have found a method that is as effective as dollar cost averaging to consistently make money in the stock market. You can also quote a group of experts. Leading nutritionists who have been studying various ways of weight loss over the years haven't found anything as effective and long-lasting as consistent daily exercise. Financial experts who have consistently outperformed the markets have never really found anything as effective as simple dollar cost averaging for generating a huge amount of wealth over time. Leading salespeople who have consistently been at the top of their field have never found any other method that is as effective as linguistic presuppositions to easily persuade their clients to buy their products. Now, I don't know about you and how advanced you are in your persuasion skills, but if you ever find any other method that is as effective, as easy to learn, and as covert as linguistic presuppositions, I'd sure like to know about them. I'm George Hutton. Thank you for listening to the Mind Persuasion Podcast. I look forward to speaking to you again soon.